Check out shares of Tesla down around 3% in the after-hour session. This following a tweet from CEO Elon Musk, which seemed to troll the SEC. The tweet said, quote, "Just want to say that the short seller enrichment commission is doing incredible work, and the name change is so on point." This, of course, after Musk made an agreement with the SEC to settle fraud charges over the now infamous funding secure tweet about taking the company private. The stock is now down around 10% over the past week. Karen.
It's just absurd. It doesn't seem to troll. It actually trolls. And as we were talking about a little before the show, this settlement has yet to be approved. I think it was the October 11th for it to be approved. So clearly the board has control of Elon, and he's chastened very much by this. He's doing very well. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. I don't know how the board or his lawyers can allow this. Clearly they're not in control. They also need to find 2 new directors as chairman. It's going to be hard to find a really quality person who's going to have to put up with this kind of thing. It's a fantastic company in that, it's an extraordinary product, but this kind of corporate governance, it's horrific.
It's interesting because if you take a look at the chain of tweets after he tweeted that initial one, one person actually said, amazingly, to Elon Musk, amazingly, you too seem to be working against us longs. And he wrote back immediately, hang in there. If you are truly long-term, it will be fine.
And again, why the need to engage in any conversation with really nobody on Twitter, with all due respect to whoever that great person was? And also the reference to the short sellers, once again, it goes back to, we had our friend Jim, the New York Times reporter.
Oh, Stewart.
Jim Stewart. Sorry, Jim.
Who looks like Jim Stewart, actually.
He said over and over, motive. And when you think about this attack on short sellers, I mean, ultimately, that was really his point. And so to continue to bring this up, nothing's been put in the rearview mirror. I don't think anything's going to come from this tweet from Musk, frankly, but it does indicate what you said, Karen.
It's shocking, though. Doesn't he have anything better to do? They're in production hell, delivery hell now. They're the second stage.
Although they're delivering, supposedly, right?
He's got a lot to do, though. He's a busy guy, right? The upper ranks are kind of thin. This is absurd. Why does he waste his time on Twitter? It's ridiculous.
Let's say you are a believer in Tesla. Is this a reason why you should rethink your position?
It's a reason to absolutely at least reconsider how comfortable you are with your position. I'm not saying that somebody who's long wants to completely get out. But it seemed like they'd gotten out of the doghouse, and then Elon's just jumped right back in. And because of a lot of what we're seeing now, we're seeing the pressure getting put back on the stock. So as a guy who owns some calls to the upside, I can almost predict now that they're not going to work. But that's OK. I knew the risks going in because I was a believer, and then all of a sudden you start to see what's going on in these tweets.
I would think that the thing that is concerning to investors is even if you are, let's say you are a believer in Tesla, let's say you believe in the fundamental picture, let's say you believe that they will deliver cars, et cetera, this is a corporate governance issue. This is the behavior of the CEO. It's two separate things, but that may be a reason to not own the stock.
So how many strikes are you going to give him, right? And we got to go back to Travis Kalanick, who's kicked out from his board, a much bigger market cap. They've raised more capital than these guys have in the public markets. And then here's the most important point that we don't talk about anymore. You remember when they were burning all that cash and they were going to have to raise cash and some people were calling for this company? Right. Right. And so we're actually seeing, rates go up. We're seeing credit conditions change. We're seeing high yield have a little stress. So we're not far off from having a little cash crisis in this name. And he can divert as much attention as he wants. But if we get into a tighter credit market, it's going to be kind of interesting.
Do you think that the company's ability to access capital at this point has dramatically changed, though? I mean, if they went out and had to raise money or wanted to raise money, let's say they want to raise money.
Right. They absolutely could. I don't know the terms now. If they did a convert, it would absolutely be more expensive. Plus, you have the question mark. Is he going to be there for sure? Right? So it's going to be a lot more expensive. Nevertheless, I think they should do it anyway.
And Ron Barron the other day was on Squawk talking about this, and he seems like he's not shaken at all. Now, that's previous to these most recent tweets that are just happening. So maybe at some point, if you ever lose somebody like that who's a significant investor in something like Tesla, who likes it, believes in it, and thinks that there's fundamentals.
You think a guy who was invested in, I don't know even what level he was invested in, $50, $100, you think that he abandons the stock at this point?
Well, that's the interesting part, and then there's the pressure onto the stock. And somebody,
if you own a stock at $50, your mark to market is you own the stock at a current level. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, if you're an investor, if it goes down today, you already took credit for that. So it's a public investment. It's not a private company. So he should care. I mean, every day he goes home long that stock, it's mark to market that day.